All right, let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, who did not have his best performance here. There was some good. In fact, we're going to start off with a good example of, still the positives he brings before we get into the negatives. This was, I think a bold call by the Raiders. Not a bad one, just a gutsy one where it's 4th down and inches, and they're set up as though they're going to run the football, right? You have just 2 wide receivers in the game right here. A lot of people are expecting a handoff, but, when you're getting teams to think that that's what's happening, maybe take advantage, and that's what the Raiders are doing. These two concepts, these 2 routes you see on the screen, are typically designed to play with the safety. The safety is either going to be moving in or staying deep. If he stays deep with the deeper route, then hopefully that over the middle route could be open. That's actually typically where you want to go. Linebackers are going to move in with the hard play action. So, that's typically what you look towards. Watch how Garoppolo takes a snap, and this safety has completely moved in. I mean, the guy I've circled in black completely covering that over the middle route, and you kind of see why. It's honestly maybe not even the worst decision, given how open Myers would have been had he not done that. Pittsburgh is now pulling off a switch here, so the corner who was covering Myers is now playing off, but still, that would have been an easy completion if he didn't, but that now leaves them open down the field. Again, a lot of, I think, worse quarterbacks than Garoppolo maybe still throw this ball to Myers. I don't know if it would be complete. Maybe it would, but, Garoppolo is basically saying, wait a second, it's an easier throw down the field. It's to Davante Adams, who's a superstar player, and it's further down the field. So yeah, let me throw it there instead. As you see, that's exactly what Garoppolo does. He pushes it down the field. Adams is able to make the catch and then roll into the end zone for a touchdown. So great stuff from Adams. Obviously, Adams was such a key factor in this football game. He was the main reason they were able to kind of stay in it as long as they did. But things did not always go as planned. Let's talk about some of the issues and why things did not work out exactly as the Raiders might have liked them to. So we'll go over to this one next. This is, your play that why you traded for Davante Adams in the first place is for something like this, where you have Adams with a one-on-one matchup on the outside. Okay, you hit him, right? That's this is what the Raiders were missing in the Carr era and why they went out and got someone like Adams that could hopefully change that. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but this is still why they have him. So watch as Garoppolo is going to take the snap. He's going to fire in that direction, and Adams is open. Adams is wide open. This is what Davante Adams does. There is a safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick, further deep, so you can't just completely throw it down the field, but there's a window for Garoppolo to make this throw. There just is. However, this throw gets away from Garoppolo a little bit, and it's something we've seen a little bit with the Raiders. On a key 3rd down and 4, that's a huge play in a game. If you make that completion, you are in field goal range right here. That's points you're leaving on the table by missing that throw. And for Garoppolo, kind of what he gets talked about at his best is he's a great game manager. That's why you brought him here. Well, a great game manager makes this throw, right? Brock Purdy makes this throw. Tua makes this throw. Garoppolo needed to make this throw, and he just didn't, and that hurt him. It did. And also going over here, some examples of just, I think there's several things you can blame here. It's not just Garoppolo, although I do think Garoppolo is to blame on this play as well. It's 2nd down and 10. The Steelers are in a cover 2 man situation. So, okay, a route like this could potentially work, right? One-on-one matchup, pretty good angle. There's no one covering the middle of the field. The one important thing to note, I think, is that due to the 2 safety deep coverage, if you're a corner or just a defensive player in general playing man, you can kind of know that you have a little bit of room to be a bit more aggressive because you can't really get beat deep the way you typically can. But watch how when Garoppolo takes the snap, we're going to see that, Michael Mayer gets the inside leverage, but not with a ton of separation. Mayer, the, rookie player who, tight ends take a while to develop. You're not expecting much from him this year. Not really getting a ton of separation. And quite frankly, this is the throw that should not have been made. Levi Wallace steps in front of Mayer and gets the interception. Good defensive play, for sure. Absolutely a good defensive play. And I'm not saying clearly Michael Mayer actually sucks at football. No, I think he's good. I think that, hasn't done a lot to start his career. That's the life of a tight end. Usually you don't do a ton to start your career. Usually it takes you a couple years. So no real concern there, in my opinion. But that was just it was a play that they would, quite frankly, Garoppolo would like to have back. And like I said, if you're going to be the game manager type, you kind of have to be good at the game manager aspect of football. And in this game, he made too many mistakes. You can't make those mistakes being the game manager. This play was funny. This one was one that got talked about a lot on certain shows. People shared on Twitter and that stuff, and I totally understand why. Although I would probably just consider it more of just a funny play than like an actively bad one. But let's talk about what happens. Garoppolo's going to take the snap and run a play action. He looks down the field, and he's going to eventually point down the field. He's pointing to Davante Adams, who there does appear to be an opening if Adams runs further down the field, but there's also a safety who actually he sees the point too, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is who it was, who reads it and realizes, okay, I got to stay deep with Adams. So you point it down the field, but it doesn't actually do much. So instead, Garoppolo's going to turn somewhere else, fire somewhere else, and there is an opening here underneath. I think what happened here actually was Garoppolo thought Jakobi Meyers was running further down the field. He was going to start going deeper, and instead Meyers ran shallower. Kind of one of those issues that can happen in a scramble drill. We've all done this in playing backyard football, right? You throw it thinking someone's about to cut one way, they cut the other way, and because of that, it ends up being incomplete or intercepted. Well, on this one, as you see, it is intercepted. And listen, I get the humor behind it for sure. I don't really hate this as a play. It's just kind of a funny play more so than an actively bad one, in my opinion. Although, again, while maybe it was just one of those miscommunication things, this is something that you would like to see not happen, right? You would like to see these miscommunications not happening, and you can control miscommunications to some degree, but they didn't do a great job of that on this one. And also, something like this just happened way too many times, of just like, listen, over the course of a football game, pressure is going to happen. That's just something that, it's the life of being an NFL quarterback. You're going to have to deal with pressure. You're going to have to deal with certain quick pressures. But there were way too many what I call immediate pressures. Plays that are happening that a quarterback just has really nothing they can do, which are actually pretty rare in football. Usually there is something you can do, like get rid of the football quickly, throw the ball away. There's usually something you can do with pressure, but not always. This is an example of a not always situation. Watch as Keanu Benton, the interior defensive lineman, just gets straight through. There was a player on him, but he just ran right by him. Benton, the second-round pick from this past year, 50th overall selection from Pittsburgh. So good stuff from him. If you're a Steelers fan, you're excited about all of that. But at the end of the day, this is also something that, got to make that block, or at least got to slow him down a little bit. And again, maybe once or twice it does happen, but it's happening too much. I get it. It's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh does this to you. Pittsburgh can make you look foolish at times. It is what it is, but this is part of what went wrong. Andre James there, who I don't think is a bad center, he looked like a bad center on that play. That was just not a very good play from him. So Raiders have to clean this stuff up as well. And I don't think that their offensive line is terrible. It might just be the Steelers are really good. But that was an issue of what went wrong here. So what do the Raiders need to fix? Need to fix some communications. Garoppolo does just have to straight up play better. That's a part of it. And then hopefully don't play the Steelers defensive line. Seems like those are the big three things heading into next week for Las Vegas. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.